this is Alchemist, this is Star Trek Online, and this is the end of... The end of the end. The end of the thing. This is Ragnarok, is what we're going to be doing, which is the Battle of Procyon 5. It's the end of the Agents of Yesterday content as it exists now. I've heard rumors of more content for Agents of Yesterday coming down the pipe, and this was simply an initial release. I don't know how much I believe those rumors. I think from here on they'll just simply do their normal featured episode release schedule. This, I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm kind of disappointed with the amount of story content in this expansion. I know that the Stowe console port has probably taken a lot of dev time this year and like during the production of this expansion, but as I understood, that was a separate team. So like it's a separate team working with the main dev team at Cryptic on the port. So I don't understand. Like this really, like I have rolled a temporal agent. I played the new tutorial, which honestly, just start that would be my recommendation. It's a much better, more interesting starting experience than rolling a normal Federation character, which is kind of offensive, really, because this character was rolled when the starting experience was garbage. And it is kind of bad still. Well, like the Federation tutorial is better than it used to be, but it's still kind of asinine in that you're basically a graduating cadet and you're given command of a starship. Even if that starship is, even if they just toss you like a POS, like Miranda, like busted hoopty, like busted like 300-year-old hoopty design. Like it's still kind of. It still doesn't feel right. It still doesn't feel good. Whereas in Agents of Yesterday, you start basically where you started initially, where you're basically just like a lieutenant. You've already been trained. You've already served for a while. You're not fresh out of the academy like the stupid regular tutorial, and you demonstrate you're competent enough that the captain trusts you to lead away teams, he trusts you to retake the ship, and he ultimately entrusts you with the ship when things happen. So, to not spoil very much. It's the friggin' tutorial. Anyways, so, it's a much better, more believable, and much cooler starting experience, particularly the end of the Battle of Caleb 4. That mission, the ending of that. That's the ending of that, and the jumping off point you reach that takes you into the rest of this, the Stowe game, and the reason for you being there. I thought was really interesting and well done. And far, far better than the Federation tutorial in any of its previous iteration. In any current or previous iteration. The Federation tutorial really is in desperate need of a rewrite, in some respects. Because it's just nonsense. And as for in the Klingon tutorial, you can infer that your character has served aboard a Klingon starship, and Klingon ships operate on the philosophy of you kill it, you bought it. So it makes sense that you killed the captain, you're a badass Klingon, it's your ship now. That makes sense. As for the Romulan, you can infer anything. Your character is a complete blank slate. In the Romulan storyline, you can literally infer anything you want about them. Again, makes sense. You can literally you can like answer some vague questions someone asks you in the during the tutorial, but mostly it's a blank slate. You can just you're the mysterious stranger. Nobody knows your past. You never meet anybody from your past. The Federation tutorial, on the other hand, is just silly. I didn't like it when the 2009 Star Trek movie did it with Kirk, and I didn't like it in this game. I liked it a lot better when you started the game as an officer, at least, and not as a graduating cadet. So yeah, that starting experience is much better in the new TOS faction, and honestly, it's kind of just start there. Just if you're watching this and you haven't ever played Star Trek Online before and you want to roll a character, just start there. It's a much more interesting, much more fun starting experience. And if you did not play an Agents of Yesterday character, if you did not play a TOS character, you are lacking vital context to everything that comes later involving the missions introduced in Agents of Yesterday, which is the other thing that pisses me off. Okay, like there are things that you are introduced to in Agents of Yesterday in the new TOS factions, like beginning of the game, before it jumps off into the rest of STO set in the 25th century. There are things that you are introduced to, things that you are shown that give context, vital context, to things that happen later that everybody else sees. But that's the problem. Everybody else sees them, but they don't have any context for them. For example, the storyline, you meet Daniels. Daniels is a big character. You're going to meet Daniels in the TOS missions. Okay. I don't know who the fuck Daniels is. I'm a character in the 25th century. I don't know who the fuck Daniels is. I'm never really introduced to him. I'm just sort of standing there talking to him. I didn't even, get, dragged, I just got, a mission to go talk to Philip Cray. He didn't say anything to me when I talked to him. He just gave me, his normal, dialogue. I never got dragged into Daniel's time disco where he watches time stuff and dragged Archer in constantly to look at time stuff with him. It's I've never been introduced to this character. I have no reason to trust him. I have no reason to believe him. So it doesn't feel it feels like there's a lot of this story is a lot of maintenance that needs to be done, which is sadly something that happens whenever you do a time travel story. But the scope of the story that they're trying to tell, and the ambition in the way they're trying to tell it, means they've got a lot of gaps that aren't just little plot holes. They're pretty major plot holes that need filling for everybody else in order to get what is going on. For example, there is a point in this mission where Scotty will appear. Scotty will just show up randomly. He'll just appear, and it'll be the most random thing you have ever seen. When I first play this, I've already played through this once. It'll be the most random thing you've ever seen. I was beside myself. That's great, Scotty. That's great. I got a chief engineer right here. We're good. It's how is he here? Why is he here? Why does he have a thing? What was he when you dropped the thing? But I never dropped the thing for you to have. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. He's referencing something that happened to a TOS, to a separate character. But this isn't a TOS character. Like Schrodinger's protagonist is in full effect in Star Trek Online. I am not a TOS character. I was never at that point. I never played through that mission. What are you talking about? It makes zero sense. Like, you don't go through it at Yesterday's War, you don't go through it in Future Proof, you don't go through it at any point what the TOS characters go through, unless you roll the TOS character. So he is literally referring to something that could not possibly happen. He is referring to my character as having done something that could not possibly happen with this character. And it makes zero sense. And there's just so many things that need to be fixed as far as the storytelling of Agents of Yesterday goes. Now, if they add in the TOS faction missions to everybody else and have everybody else go through them later in the game, that might fix it. I'd also be mighty pissed if I was a TOS character and I rolled this character and everybody else got all my shit. You know? Anyways, I'd be mighty pissed off. You know, especially when the content I got as a faction, in massive sarcasm quotes, was already so sparse. It's not a good thing. So we're going to go through Ragnarok. The final battle against the Spear Builders will take place at Procyon 5, and some of the greatest minds of the last several centuries will need to come together to save both past and future.
Noi and his allies have engaged Alliance forces at Procyon 5 in the 26th century. Your work at New Khitomer allowed us to summon our ships to the battle, but they may not arrive in time. The combined power of the enemy fleet may be more than we can handle. Join the Alliance fleet as soon as you can. We must face the enemy, and we must win, or all of history will be lost.
Trillium deplating, which is a reference to Enterprise, where they were in the Delphic Expanse, and they had to coat the hull and stuff because the hull and Trillium D, because the region of space they were in season 3, the Delphic Expanse, was full of anomalies, and the only thing that protects ships from it is this Trillium D stuff. And then T'Pol started eating it and getting addicted, and it was a weird storyline.
Time is short, my friends, so I'll make this quick. The battle is not going well for us. We have already lost Daniels. We're outnumbered and outgunned. Our plan relies on the Tax Utat. With it, we can destabilize the Expanse and force the Sphere Builders to withdraw. There's only one ship with the power to use the Tax Utat effectively. The Enterprise. She must survive at all costs. Today we're fighting for the past, present, and future. So fight hard, and fight well. Dismissed.
I gave this a week for them to fix that shit, and they still haven't. It still happens in Iconian War cutscenes, too. You still have people, phasing through the floor. Seriously, get your stuff working. How much does it take? What does it take to not get people to phase through the floor? What does it take to script people sitting down around a conference room? I know you can do that because, half the friggin' story cutscenes in the Iconian War took place in a conference room with a bunch of people sitting around a table. So I know that can be done. And you can't tell me that they can't do that, because the cutscenes in Agents of Yesterday, particularly the cutscenes for the TOS faction, particularly particularly the cutscene towards one major cutscene towards the end of the Battle of Caleb 4, which is amazing considering the technical limitations of the engine, shows that they can do far, far, far more than just make people sit in chairs. So yeah, come on. Come on, fix this shit. This is ridiculous. This is silly. This is test server shit. Okay, the sphere builders have started to generate an expanse. Radiation levels are rising in the sector. It won't be long before our shields and life support systems are overwhelmed. We're up power to shields and life support as needed. There's a lot of enemy ships out there. The Enterprise looks like she might be getting overwhelmed. Fortunately for them, the cavalry has arrived.
We're more than just the cavalry. We have the means to put an end to this whole conflict. The Tax Utat.
The whole conflict.
All ships. This is Chekov. Protect the Enterprise at all costs. We must get the Tax Utat to the Enterprise.
Now, I have to talk about the Universe class real quick. The volume is a bit loud in my ear.
Here they come.
Okay, so I gotta talk about the Enterprise J really quick, if I can, take my headset off so I can hear myself think. The Enterprise J is a Universe-class starship. It is basically 2 miles in length. And, I don't like this design, mainly because of the nacelles. Mainly because of the warp supports. Basically what's going on is this was a ship that was very quickly designed, very rush designed to get it on a display screen for the episode Azadi Prime in Season 3 of Enterprise. It was a very rushed design, and it shows. It's basically a stretched out NX-01.
We've got your back.
And after the fact, they came up with all sorts of ridiculous nonsense. Well, the warp pylons are so dainty because it's a level of technology that is so far beyond everything that the Federation has. But if you have, and you'll see, I'll show you in a moment.
Must reach the Enterprise.
But if you have the technology to make that connection,
They're trying to intercept us.
quiet, Chekov. If you have the technology to make that connection, oh my God! Would the game shut up for a moment?
Too late, in fact. Terran forces, this is the Admiral. Give them no quarter. Onward to victory. For the Empire!
Yeah, that's the downside of the game having lots of celebrity voice acting, is they never shut up. But anyways, if you have the technology to make those connections so solid with such a small point of contact, you have the technology to make a much larger point of contact and make that ship a lot safer for the tens of thousands of people who live in it. And I'm not joking. The Universe class has its own parks, its own academy, its own residential blocks. It's literally a flying city.
Mayday! Mayday! My port's about to breach!
Oh, he will never shut up about that. He's gonna, be saying that constantly throughout this mission, so get used to it. Like I said, this game never... this mission never shuts up. This guy's core is going to breach 1,000,000 times. So you may have noticed a Prometheus class and a Nova class and a Dauntless class fighting alongside me. Those ships are actually seen from windows from the Enterprise J during Azadi Prime.
Mayday! Mayday! My port's about to breach!
Oh, shut up. See, these are the nacelles I'm talking about. They're literally twigs. No fucking shit. Chekov's not going to shut up during this mission either. He's going to repeat himself constantly, too. Well, yeah, you do. You do you. Yeah, you see what I'm talking about with these, twigs. I don't really like this design. I do like how it looks like a flying chevron a bit. It looks like a flying Starfleet symbol, which also sort of like leads into a theory that I have about why the Universe class is so unintentionally brilliant. Look at this thing. It's a giant... It's basically Starfleet's ego in ship form. So this is the 26th century, and you see them building ships like this. Ships like the Enterprise. Ships with that really dainty connection there. That non-existent connection. Just because they have the technology to do so. And in the episode of Zadi Prime, this ship is chromed up like crazy. In the episode of Zadi Prime, in the Ships of the Line calendar, it's super shiny. It's super chromed up. And so it's basically... That's great. So it basically... Oh, shut up, Chekov. I get it. Defend the Enterprise. We're doing it.
Engaging hostile, command. Weapons locked.
That's great. You do that. But what do you see after the Enterprise, Jay? Like, what do you see, like, centuries after that giant, impossible starship design? You see designs like the Wells. Smaller, flat, gray designs that are basically flying bricks in comparison to this huge, elegant, impossible design. This design is one that kind of reeks of hubris. It literally looks like a flying Starfleet chevron. Like a flying Starfleet...
There. Find a suitable location, and I will beam down with you.
Oh my god. In a moment. It literally looks like a flying chevron, like a flying Starfleet design, like a flying Starfleet insignia. So, like hundreds of years later, you see like the Wells, you see the Eternal. They're gray flying bricks. They're far simpler designs. They're flatter. They're smaller. And you never see anything this size or, like, shape again. And what that tells me is, this is an example, this is the example of Star... Look at how big this fucker is. The galaxy is, like, half a mile long. It's, like, 600 something, like, meters long. Okay, maybe not half a mile, but it's, like, half a kilometer long. Look at how big this thing is! It's friggin' enormous! And you never see anything like this again. And the reason why it's unintentionally brilliant is because at some point, Starfleet gets a lesson in humility and starts building things like the Eternal, like the Wells, like the time ships that they sold. Smaller, simpler designs that are in no way anywhere near as elegant as this. They're not even as elegant as the Galaxy, honestly. Like, they're flying bricks. Now, like, we've seen something motivate such a design change in Star Trek before, and that was after the Battle of Wolf 359, when the Borg laid waste to Starfleet. What did you see Starfleet building after that? You saw Starfleet building flatter ships, flatter designs. The Steamrunner, the Akira, the Jaeger classes, the Norway classes, they're all long. The Sovereign, Voyager, although Voyager technically might have existed beforehand, but the Defiant, they're longer, they're flatter, makes them harder to hit in profile. Starships. They're aggressive looking. They're much simpler. They're much less elegant designs. Like, they're less elegant and much more functional. There's a real, like the neck, like this neck that you see commonly in starships is something that disappears in Starfleet designs after Wolf 359. you know, the nacelle supports become either like really stocky or much more tucked in. You know, you see like all, you know, the ships become sleeker, they become narrower, you know, from like in length. They like the designs become less sort of like spread out like the Galaxy, and they become much stockier, like much sort of narrower from the side. Like I said, makes them harder to hit. You see a radical change in Starfleet design following their crushing defeat by the Borg. And my theory is, after this thing gets a similar treatment, remember those Kelvins are still on their way from the Andromeda Galaxy, the Kelvins from TOS. Could be them, could be anyone else. But after this thing gets wrecked, or something like it gets wrecked, or all the ships like it get wrecked, look at that, that's ridiculous. That's so unsafe. Like, regardless of your level of technology, if you can make it that solid enough to hold these nacelles up like that, you can make that much bigger and just make that safe for like tens of thousands of people. That's really my biggest hang-up, is these nacelles. Like, the ship itself is fine, but it's the nacelles that really just sort of go like, no, thanks. I'll stick with the Galaxy, thank you. But yeah, like, you see that radical change in design philosophy after Wolf 359, and I'm thinking, after this thing gets Wolf 359, or the other ships like it, you see another radical change in design philosophy towards simpler, harder to hit, more reliable, sturdier designs. Because remember, the Wells class, the Eternal class, all those ships, those come after the Enterprise J. Hell, if you're even going to talk about the temporal starships that were released with Agents of Yesterday, I think those are chronologically later than the Enterprise J. So those ships, like, also do not have this going on. Those ships also have much more solid connections. So again, Starfleet. That's why this ship. That's why I don't like it, but why I think it's sort of unintentionally brilliant. And again, this ship was super rushed. This was a very rushed design for like one display screen in Azadi Prime. It was never seen on screen. It was finally sort of fleshed out in a couple pictures for a Ships of the Line calendar, I think. And that is the most, for like visual reference, this ship has ever gotten. I think the game version is the most fleshed out and the most like clearly portrayed this ship has ever been. And in game, I will admit, it looks cool. It's impossible, but it looks cool. It's just really the pylons that hang me up. So yeah. Presumably this ship is supposed to be like exploring other universes as well, so who knows? Who knows? Maybe that'll be the next direction the game takes, you know, instead of exploration or exploring changes to the setting post-Iconian War or any of that stuff. That would be really interesting, as opposed to just referencing. Again, Luke Critter did an excellent blog post about like how the game is best when Cryptic is doing their own thing and not rehashing old stories. I could go on a spiel about that, but I'll just link that in the description for you guys, and you can read through that. It's a good post. Let's get this show on the road.
We've done it. Find a suitable location, and I will beam down with you.
Understood. Brand, find a good place where we can be, man. Scanning. Got it. We found a transport site close to an engineering center and Enterprise. The enemy presence there is minimal for now. Very well. Send the coordinates to Captain Chekov's ship and beam us down. And, let's see. I believe I took Ike with me when I first did this. So let's bring him again. Soren and Ren. brought Ren last time. Haven't brought Hunter in a while, so we'll bring Hunter. Hunter's got the benefit of that veteran perk, which improves everybody else. The engineering center isn't far, but I'm reading multiple enemy life signs ahead. We'll need to hit them hard and fast before they can beam in reinforcements. And I am underdressed. There we go.
Captain Dax to all hands.
Behind
Wait for
us.
impact.
So, the interior of the Enterprise J is more or less a redress of Deep Space Nine sets, from what I recall. This is most obvious in the doors that were shown in Azadi Prime. The doors that were shown, they're not showing any of them yet. But those doors were basically just a redress and a reuse of the pylon docking bay doors from Deep Space Nine. We'll see those soon. These also look like reused versions of like Cardassian iconography. I don't know what cars they're using, be it L cars or T cars or S cars or just cars. I don't know what they call it.
Captain Dax to all hands. Brace for impact.
Sounds pretty rough out there.
Yes, let me contact command on this. Wait! My transponder's missing.
Did someone call for a miracle worker then?
No, we didn't.
Scotty?
That would be this wee temporal beacon. Once activated, you brought me here. Somehow.
Bullshit mo...
I've been holding onto that beacon for many a year, waiting for a signal. Better late than never, I suppose. Where and when are we, if you don't mind me asking?
Aboard the USS Enterprise J in the 26th century.
Oh, aye. Judging by the sounds of things, I'd say we're the kind of trouble the Enterprises get into regularly. Am I right?
That's a fair statement.
Well, we better get to it then. Wouldn't want to let a fine lady... I've been holding onto that beacon for many a year, waiting for a signal. Oh, aye. Well, we better get to it then. Wouldn't want to let a fine lady like this down, would we?
No, we would not.
Quite the ship, this Enterprise.
Wait until you see her on the outside.
Are we
Okay.
at some sort of nebula?
Verse. And if we don't stop it, we're all done for.
So, this is a visual reference. I don't see any, like, ships flying by. But in the episode Azadi Prime, and I think this is different from what it looked like in Azadi Prime. But in the episode Azadi Prime, I think this is a visual reference to where Archer and Daniels are standing. Daniels brings Archer forward to the 26th century to observe the battle here for a moment. And they have a sort of a conversation while watching. That's when you see, like, the Prometheus and Nova and Dauntless fly past the window. And I think this is upside down. Yeah, I think this is upside down. In fact, I know this is upside down because the registries are upside down. Cryptic, you might want to flip that around, just saying. So yeah, this is pretty much supposed to be where they were standing, although it's lacking the the big bulky Deep Space Nine docking bay doors.
More borders!
If I remember right, the hallway was capped at both ends with those, like, big DS9 doors. And this hallway looks awfully like launch. Looks like some of my security people got it into here. They didn't make it, though. They're dead, Jim.
All right. We need to integrate the Tox Uthat into the primary power network of the Enterprise. Scotty, I could use a hand here.
So this is the first of two... Well, this is the more underwhelming of the two boss fights we're going to have in this mission. Lita is going to show up, and I'm going to get this out of the way right now. Lita is already a boss in a PvE queue where you're like storming Terok Nor. She's already a boss. Like Assault on Terok Nor, that's what it's called. Like, she's already a boss. She is like fully she is running on Pa Wraith juice, more or less. She is the Pa Wraith's emissary. She has all of their powers. She literally is a Super Saiyan. She is like enveloped in fire. She's slinging fireballs. She's got invincibility frames. She's a fairly unique fight in the game. Here, she is literally just a beefy NPC with a high amount of hit points. So this fight with Lita at the end of Ragnarok is actually quite a letdown. There will be another boss fight that is a bit less of a letdown, but it's sad that Lita, who is already known to have like all these superpowers, just sort of like stands there and like shoots at you while summoning reinforcements instead of, using them.
Oh, I think I'll manage. We'll get this Gaja Yoros hooked up in no time.
Excellent. We'll do what we can to help you both. Which means fighting waves of enemies while they stand there looking serious.
All right. We need to reconfigure these consoles to work with Tox Uthat. Incoming! Keep working, Scotty! Keep your head down over there.
Consoles realigned. Now activate them so we can put them to use. I wrote this warp protocol. They're still using it.
Lima, you might want to get away from there really quick.
We'll realign the consoles. Watch out for our friends from the Terran Empire.
Why do we have to
Behind you.
realign anything?
These Terrans don't give up, do they?
The same. As in the let's get this done. They go to the Ragnarok.
I do like that Scotty I do like that Scotty recognizes the Mirror Universe, considering he was there. Like, he was one of the people who initially got, caught in it.
Aye, let's deploy the core integration chamber and wrap this up.
Hopefully we won't get any more uninvited guests.
All this for something the size of a piece of Toblerone.
Oh, why did you say that? We're bound to get some
Nice try.
Kill shot!
But you're done here.
That's a kill shot!
Oh, none of you look like the beg for mercy type, so let's just skip to your execution, shall we?
You were right, Scotty. Unfortunately.
Aye, let's deal with this angry lass and her band of thugs.
Oh, hi, Lita. I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you.
Take the Scotsman alive. Kill the rest.
She fights like a Klingon.
The haggis is in the fire, for sure.
Now, if I was like fighting her with a Lurpa and she was slinging superpowers, this would feel a lot more
I might
badass.
be getting too old for this.
I've had more than enough of this.
Also, her lips aren't moving.
The Admiral. We're leaving.
Nonsense. Don't just start
Good luck
laddie.
with your fool's errand, Noy. You'll need it.
Camera. More camera goofiness.
Lita's shot sent a power surge through the command relays. They're offline, but Scotty and I can get them running again. We just need the time.
You'll have it.
Losing the Terran fleet won't make Noy happy. He'll send every ship he has at the Enterprise. You need to keep her safe while we finish the job here.
Understood. Okay. So here is Cryptic's attempt to basically recreate the Anorex charging its time breaker beam from the end of, or from the middle of midnight. This sequence sticks around way too long, especially when you're listening to the same repeated chatter over and over from, like, the various fleet members. That guy's core is going to breach repeatedly over the course of this, and Chekov will constantly tell you, hey, we're almost there, as you're fighting like a million waves of enemies that really are not that challenging, nor particularly interesting. Like, that, you're fighting sphere builders, and the sphere builders do have some dirty tricks. These are mostly just irritating, like teleporting you randomly around. It's kind of just annoying. Not really that good. You'll see what I mean. Especially about the teleporting. That got on my fucking nerves. Admiral, the Terran fleet is withdrawn. Remaining enemy forces are regrouping. It looks like they're focusing on the Enterprise.
Assistance, Command.
You could, like, make yourself useful and shoot stuff. Alliance forces, this is Admiral Person. Protect the Enterprise at all costs.
Scotty and I need more time.
No
Protect the
shit.
Enterprise.
They're coming in from 3 o'clock.
Engaging hostiles, Command. Weapons hot.
So the Edolds are what you want to focus on, because these assholes will teleport you fucking constantly. It's annoying as shit.
More enemy forces incoming.
Yeah. They'll keep pouring in. Yeah, Chekov, you might want to, like, spend less time looking at the sensors and more time working on that thing so I don't have to fight through a million waves of this shit. And I got teleported again. This will happen repeatedly over the course of this battle. And honestly, it does not feel good. It feels more like rubber banding than it feels like an actual, like, attack. And it annoys me about as much as rubber banding as well. Like, if the point of the attack is to simulate rubber banding and annoy me, mission accomplished. By gum, you've done it. But it's annoying. Fucking stop it. Didn't mean to do that, but I'll take advantage of it.
They're coming in from 12 o'clock.
Damn washes.
The USS Tempest is at your disposal.
The USS Snow stands ready.
Got your back.
Less talk, more shooting.
Mayday! Mayday! On point about 3.
Again.
Hold them off!
And this is it. This is just kind of... I don't know. No. I was about to say, I don't know if this is boring or if I'm just been fighting in like so many of these huge melees in this game that I'm just numb to it. But no, this is boring. Like... And I got sub-nuked like crazy. That's always fun. You're just this package of the most annoying things in the game, aren't you? Rubber band attacks and fucking sub-nukes.
They're coming in from 9 o'clock.
Get it? Because it's time travel. You're a time traveler. You're traveling in time.
Engaging the enemy for the glory.
I don't care. Glory away.
We've lost main power. Shields collapsing. Run!
You see, this is done way more effectively towards the end of the TOS faction's introduction. This is done, like, this sort of, like, big battle scene is done far more effectively. Hell, it was done way more effectively in the Iconian War. And I got rubber band attacked again, because that's great. I suppose...
Compromised. Repeat.
You know, you could die now. Just... I don't know how many times you've already died during this battle. I haven't kept count, but it's been a lot.
Hold out for just a moment longer.
Yeah, it's a time travel storyline, Chekov. A moment is relative. Oh my god, that's annoying. I'm just gonna randomly teleport you. Our server's rubber band players constantly, so let's just make it a mechanic, is what it feels like. It's just kind of really super annoying.
Mayday! Mayday! On point about 3.
Again, he's dying again. This is like what time now? It was less than a minute ago. that's it. Like this is literally all this is. Just like fighting a million enemies. No. Whatever.
It's working. The Dark atomics just coupling the expanse. There go the spear builders too. And good riddance.
Yep. Genocided them. Good job, heroes.
This isn't over. I have all the time I need to find the path to victory.
Captain Chekov is hailing us. I like to point out that apparently it takes the Enterprise J and like a friggin' like not super weapon scientific device that is totally only ever used as a super weapon whenever it appears to do what an NX-01 did. Literally. Like, an NX-01 did this. Did we really have to go through all this nonsense? Just saying.
He's going to run. He's done it many times before. Disable the Anorex if you can, and take Noi alive. He should answer for his crimes.
Out. Okay, but we can't make you end the mission without forcing you to fight a few enemy groups. Because you haven't fought enough enemy groups yet. We haven't padded this mission out enough yet. And I'm just being real here. That's all this is padding. It's just filler to draw out the length of the mission a little bit more. There's really no reason for this. Other than to just, like, pad the length of the mission a bit.
That was close.
We're still on the flight, thanks to you.
So there's actually 2 Anoraxes here, and I thought they were going to do something clever at first, with Noi being on, like, the unnamed Anorax, and that becoming his flagship. Nah, he's just on, like, the regular one. Oh, there you... When I played it, there was a second one here. Oh, that's what he must have done. Okay. I have a tactical beam inside aboard Anorax. Beam is down. It's time to end this. Or begin it. Again, time travel. It's time to end the beginning of the end of the beginning of the end of the end of the beginning. Rating fluctuating level of chronoton energy within Anorax. Their temporal drive may have taken damage in the fight and become unstable. You're close to the bridge. Just securing it and shutting down the temporal core before it reaches critical levels. Well, you're close to the bridge too, Lima. You're kind of standing right there. Some nice lighting here. Can't wait for the engine to get fixed. But this does look nice right now. But like I said, it will look nicer once the console port happens and they finally are able to add the updated visuals to the PC version as well. There we go. Ren's got his purple pimp saber. It's got a nice little wavy effect on it. That's cool. I got one too, though. I kick you in the face. And I stab you with my super goddamn bright... Just sort of rake it across your face. Just rake the blade. God damn, that's bright in here. Holy shit. Ow. I mean, the room's not dark, but... Ow. Initiate temporal core shutdown sequence. Access denied. Tea, Earl Grey hot. Access denied.
Sorry I couldn't greet you properly on the bridge. I'm afraid I had more pressing matters to tend to elsewhere. Rest assured, I'll be dealing with you and your thugs soon enough.
It's over, Noise. Stand down while you still can. Chateau Picard. Cold. Oh. Noise and temporal engineering. It looks like he's trying to open a time vortex without fixing the temporal core. If he does so, the core will breach. The subsequent shockwave would devastate most of the beta quadrant. She's referring to the what this ship was initially used for, is like to erase things. So this thing blowing would basically send like a big eraser wave, essentially. It's kind of like the Z wave from Power Rangers in Space, only it affects everything and not just bad people because the plot says so. Anyways, it would send out a massive wave of like time eraser thing stuff. That's bad. So we have to stop that. I think. It's probably bad. He's lost it. We need to get down there now. I don't know why they threw an ellipsis there. Like your character is just gonna sort of like stand there for a moment and go, we need to get down there. Now. Like... Kick you in the face! Excuse me. Okay, when I fucking hit you... Engineering. Some nice fire effects going on. I do like that. That does look very good. Like a little dancing light from the fire. So, I beg your pardon. Get wrecked! Oh, they are shooting at us. They're just missing. I was like, where are those Polaron shots coming from? Thank you for grouping up together.
I suppose this was inevitable. So be it. It's time. Time I put an end to this charade. And to you!
Question, if Noi met with Archer so many times, like, remember, he's future guy, so why didn't he just, like, kill Archer? Like, I knew he ordered his lackey to kill Archer in, like, the pilot, but then he was, like, he actually, like, gave him advice or something, like, later on? Guys, there's stairs. Oh, boy. This will not go well. So he's about to call reinforcements like a bitch. Yep. Ow. I am owie. Give me that Kelvin timeline lockbox I'll never open ever. He's got a lot of health, and he's mostly just sort of like a lackey fight. Like you'll weaken him, he'll summon minions, you kill the minions, then he'll fight you, etc., etc., etc. It's still better than what Lita was, which is literally just like a damage sponge surrounded by lackeys. Like, I'm not saying she should be impossible to beat. I'm saying she should do something more, like, she should actually use, like, the Wraith powers that we know she has, and she's used in the past. Kick. Get rid of this. Oh shit. I had to sneeze. Alright. Oh, Ren's down. Where's Ren? Lima's got him. Check on Noi's life signs. Noi seems to be doing pretty well, actually. He's supposed to be on the ground right now. This happened the first time I went through this game, through this mission as well. Just like the friggin' standing on chairs thing. There's a lot of, like, animation fixes they need to do that really should have been caught on the test server. Like that.
So it ends.
See, because he's supposed to be on the floor.
Bloody work, then. Send me to join Claudia in Oblivion, as you sent the Tutarians and so many others. Kill me if you had the stomach for it.
This would be a lot more effective in a cutscene if it didn't look like he was like standing up and like green screened against like a floor texture. This would look a lot better if it was in a cutscene, or if there wasn't a dialogue window at all, and if it was just like pop-up dialogue, like after you like scan them. That would probably be better than this, because this just looks goofy, especially with him literally standing like right there, perfectly fine. It's not your time, Noi. You'll live and face judgment for your crimes.
This won't end with me. Others are out there watching. They see your tyranny and they'll rise up just as I did. Your time will come. Pity I won't be there to see it.
First in Moklinde, Noi has been taken into custody. Beam him to the brig. And now he's on the floor. Like, really, they should just, like, skip the dialogue box altogether. And just have it, like, as a pop-up dialogue. Just do that. And, like, fix the animation so he's lying down.
Reading multiple Klingon life signs on Yorktown's bridge.
And that is from Terminal Expanse. It's a mission in Yesterday's War that is not supposed to be playing right now at all. Like, that dialogue is not supposed to be playing right now at all. Again, another issue that should have been caught on the test server, but apparently wasn't. That still isn't fixed a week after release. Yeah. We're ready to beam you back to the Moklinde on your order. Oh, hi, Noi. Or, hi, Daniels. I was standing right
Sorry,
there.
I'm late.
Right.
Dead? I was, in a manner of speaking. Stopping Noi altered the timeline in a number of ways, including one where I lived.
Noi is done, but his allies are still out there. Any of them could try to take Procyon again, so we'll need to stay vigilant. And so, for now, this is goodbye.
Star Trek 6 reference.
Good to see you again, my friend.
Well, Scotty, let's get you back to the 24th century.
Do you mind a quick stop in the 23rd first? I'd like to see the Enterprise. Our Enterprise. One last time.
I think that can be arranged, old friend. 2 to beam up.
This is a nice shot.
It's good to know they're out there. People who come through in the end. People like you. What you did today will remain secret. No parades, no celebrations. Still, there's comfort in knowing the timeline's secure. Take pride in that. On behalf of myself and the countless others you've saved today, thank you.
That's a nice little scene. I like that. I like that Daniels doesn't drag you into his disco like Archer at the end of Stormfront. That would seem a bit too of an on-the-nose reference. And we are Nexus Solar System with everybody's Aegis sets buzzing constantly. I hate that noise. Let's just get away from them. Get away from Saul. 'Tis a silly place.
Well done. With your help, we were able to stop Noi and preserve the timeline. I am proud to have worked with you, my friend. Do svidaniya.
And you can get like Trillium D plating and a bunch of vendor trash. or the current lockbox, which you're not going to bother with. So don't do it. And that's Ragnarok. That's the current end of the content for Agents of Yesterday. It's structurally fine. There are like a few bits that are like obvious filler, like the enemy groups, for example. I don't really like aside from the two bits. Well, aside from the obvious padding and Lita being just a beefy NPC when we know she can do way more and has done way more in this game, those sticking point, like aside from those sticking points, and in the obvious filler, I include the million waves you have to fight, listening to like the repeating dialogue while getting rubber banded by enemies and like the enemy groups that follow. Like that whole section of the mission stuck around way too long. But aside from those two bits, it's actually a very good mission. It's got a lot of nice callbacks to various bits of Trek lore. Scotty being in the Mirror Universe, the nice sort of like a nice run through the hallway that Archer and Daniels are going to be either stood in or would be standing in, depending on when they jumped in. But it's nowhere near as epic a conclusion as Midnight turned out to be. Even though Midnight fell apart at the very end with the ridiculous Deus Ex Machina and the really corny, cheesy dialogue from O'Meara. It tries to recreate the firing the Anorax moment from Midnight. That's what it's trying to recreate. But the problem is that moment where they're firing the Anorax for you to go back in time to Iconia had 5 years of build up to it. And had everybody, like literally everyone was there. Sayla was there, Sean was there, the Lisette, Jirok and the Lisette were there, Bortask was there. You know, you had Kurland, you had Thelen somewhere. You know, you had Paris somewhere mixed in there. Throughout, you ran back into Miral Paris throughout this storyline. This is a storyline where Kalis was killed. That moment had 5 years of build up to it, and that's what made it such an epic moment. This is literally just fight X number of ships until the mission progress ticks. It doesn't feel nearly as important as that final battle next to Earth Space Dock was. Which is sad, because this is apparently a very important... This is the next thing after that, in terms of how important it should be to the game's story. You know, the Battle of Procyon 5 was a key point in history. You know, it was the point that Daniels brought Archer forward to try and convince him not to take a suicide mission. You know, we need you so that this happens. You can't let yourself die. You know, it's supposed to be a big deal, and it was just fight the swarm of NPCs for X amount of minutes for way too long. It was very obvious padding. There was nothing accomplished in that sequence that could not have been accomplished with one or two enemy waves and a cutscene. You know, because mission length is good. It's okay. It's good for a mission to be lengthy. It's good for a mission to be long, but you also got to worry about the pacing of the mission too. You got to keep that pacing up, and I know it can and you gotta keep the pacing of the storyline brisk without verging into like ADD territory. And I think that they kind of missed the mark at that point. In general, these missions are good. Like all of the Agents of Yesterday missions are really good. They're probably, like, again, some of the best content in the game. They're visually very good. The Agents of Yesterday TOS faction stuff, particularly, is very good. You know, these the mission design and game design have come a long way for Stowe. And it really shows in this expansion. But I can't really call it an expansion without an asterisk by its name. Because what this really feels like is two sort of connected featured episode series. That's really what it feels like. The TOS faction stuff feels like a featured episode series, and then everything that comes after it feels like a second featured episode series. And that's it. Delta Rising is still highly criticized, mainly for changes to game mechanics, but story content wise, it was far better and had much more content added to the game. It added much more to the game. It added much more to the setting of the game than this does. All this really does, like, the most important thing this does is give the Federation a tutorial that doesn't suck. That isn't, like, completely nuts and ridiculous, and why would you ever do that? I mean, the friggin' Delta Recruit event was like, you're going to be an admiral inside of a year. You know, that's just bonkers. And I know it's true in-game, but there's such a thing as gameplay and story segregation. And this game really needs it, as far as the rank goes. Well, that's Ragnarok.